The government shutdown is now 31 days old, and there has been very little economic data coming from the government during that period. But there are some alternative sources that are providing labor and inflation statistics. For that, we get to our senior economics reporter, Steve Liesman. He's been searching for data high and low, and he's come up with some pretty interesting things. Good morning, Steve.
Hey, good morning, Becky. Yeah, we're able to put together a preliminary estimate of jobless claims. I'll explain how in a second, but it shows a decline this week. The Fed doing the same thing, and data like this was highlighted by Chair Powell as a reason why the case is not that clear for a December rate cut. Initial jobless claims, as estimated and seasonally adjusted by Haver Analytics, they're our economic data provider, fell by 13,000 to 219,000. That's an estimate. It's the lowest since a month ago. Continuing claims rising by 11,000 to 1.96 million. That's the highest level since August. Three reports were late in this: Arizona, Massachusetts, and D.C. They're estimated. Actual numbers could change when the government reopens and will be re-estimated next week. But they do show claim numbers remain relatively contained, and there's no surge, at least, in job losses from this data. Something else we're watching: Troy Ludka from SMBC Nikko Securities. He has a running series of jobs and inflation from 5 different regional Fed surveys. Take a look. It shows an actual pickup in job growth. That's that orange line ticking up there at the end of the graph on your right, while prices tick down just a bit, but that blue line does remain elevated. Earlier in the week, we reported new weekly ADP data showing a rebound in job growth from a weak September number, so this goes along with that. Lutka's index does a fairly good job in tracking the CPI. You can see that orange and blue line, they kind of move together. Not a perfect fit. It does show an acceleration in prices that coincided with tariffs, remains elevated, but the increases, that blue line, if you could zoom in there, we'll give you a better chart next month, it has flattened out. So this alternative data, good as far as it goes, not comprehensive, hasn't really been tested in real time, but taken all together, it's probably enough for investors and policymakers to feel confident they're not missing a dramatic swing in the economy. Becky?
Hey, Steve, even if the government were to reopen, let's say next week, how long will it take for them to sort of catch up with putting these data releases out? How far behind are we going to be?
It's going to be different for every data series. We'll get jobless claims on a weekly basis pretty quickly. That, I think they can restart. They're actually still doing it. Some of this data that Haver uses comes from the Department of Labor, where they're still working on this data, at least partially. The jobs numbers, I'm watching the calendar pretty closely. If we don't fire up, I think in the next couple days, Becky, we may not get the October report for November right now. We're definitely not going to get October. That's passed. But I think it's this 2 weeks here where we need to be up and running if we're going to get that data. What is interesting here, Becky, is some of this stuff that we're exploring, they're keepers. I think like this Troy Ludka thing, I'm working with him on it. I've been looking for a way even before the shutdown to figure out how to make sense of all of the Fed regional surveys and try to put that into some kind of comprehensive thing. He's come up with a really good idea here, and it's something that right now it's a little bit raw, a little bit crude. It does a good job of tracking jobs and inflation. I think we can do somewhat better with it. I'm working with him on that. But it's a clever idea, and I think no matter what, it's a keeper. What's important here, though, it could be, and I'm going to watch this, we get the Beige Book in a couple weeks. This is the sort of stuff that actually feeds into the Beige Book, so it might give us a better tenor of how the Beige Book is going to tell us. And it looks like, Becky, and I'm watching this real closely, that we have a better October when it comes to the jobs numbers, with one huge caveat: we don't know what's happening at the federal government level. There was going to be a lot of layoffs that were going to show up in the data because of that extension, and they were put on leave until they were actually let go in October. That's one caveat. I don't know how that's operating right now.